Hey, folks, John Duffin here with Duffin Media and Duffin Coaching. We're bringing back Deep Diving for another Deep Diving episode with motivating coaching superstar Chad Levine, of course, along for the ride. We get to couple up here. Sounded weird, but we get to get together. That's okay. We're all cool with that too. To provide tips, strategies, tactics to make certain that when you're in uncharted waters, you break on through to the other side. Chad, great to see you today, man. How are you?
That was a good use of today's topic.
How about that?
Yeah, it just flowed right in, I like it.
Thank you.
It's funny, man. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to and this is where the inspiration came for me today.
Great.
When you listen to songs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you actually listen to the lyrics?
Oh, only on occasion.
What's funny? I've learned that about myself, right? Mm-hmm. I really don't know lyrics, and if I do, it's like and it's not like it's not sticking with me, right? And everyone's like, these artists are super deep and and I'm like, I'm not catching it. So I recently, and this is funny, John, I'm not kidding. I'm going to challenge you.
Okay. Got you.
Start do you have Apple Music?
Yes, absolutely.
Hit the button where it lets you see the words. These are some decent writers. They're not all of them. Some of them are like bubblegum pops, my hair's all pink. None of that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about, right?
And I can be very okay with that. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
But my point is these guys are very deep. And I'm going to tell you something else, John.
Right.
I never thought this would happen to me as a quote unquote Philly boy.
Right.
I'm getting into the country a little, John. I'm getting into the country a little bit. And I think it's because it's a little slower and it gets into the soul a little bit more. And maybe that's an age thing. I don't know. But my whole point in bringing this up is today's topic was built around one particular song, right, that was popularized in the 70s from a very well-known artist who was a very short-lived artist, as was very common, right? And you and I are going to pick this thing apart. But for me, it's so funny. And I don't know why I thought about this. Song lyrics are deep, bro. Deep. Deep.
I love that sense of urgency. So the country part, this is where you talk about like bubblegum and whatever. For me, respond to rhythms. The way you just described, feel rhythms.
Right.
So not to get all heavy on that, but I do. I feel drum beats. I feel rhythms. That's typically what I do, which impacts for me mood and urgency or calm or whatever.
Yeah.
Lyrics wise, I'm more like if they fit. Country music, I do believe there's a little bit of an age thing, although I'm sure in certain parts, I do. In certain parts, it's more.
Because I grew up loving that hip hop, dude.
Well, that's it. See that, and you're using words like growing up. And for me, I catch myself listening very intently to old school R&B. So for me, it's like, which often is tailored to women of older, so whatever that means. But what I was going to say is the lyrics themselves. So drop the lyric, because you drop the number of good clues in regards to 70s and whatever. Drop the lyric, man.
Yeah, so today is Break On Through to the Other Side from the infamous Jim Morrison of The Doors. And I'm going to let you rock and roll on your side. But the inspiration here is the proverbial wall that every person hits at some point, right? What is that wall? How to break through that wall, and strategies to mentally pummel through it, man.
I love this, because so often what you're dealing with, or I'll speak for me, first, but when I'm coaching, what I hear, what I feel is often based on a wall. I can't, they won't, and then you fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
They're not responding to me. They're not moving along with me. They don't see what I see. It's not progressing. It's not closing. So when I think about break on through, there's so many ways that you can go, but I'm going to isolate a couple, just one or two, in regards to the ways that I've benefited from coaching and what I instill in others, which is this. Let's bring it to 2025, although I love that gentle dig of bringing up a 1970s song.
Don't you just hear the song right now?
I absolutely can
hear it. When the night has come to run.
I didn't follow Jim Morrison that closely, but I will. Here's what I remember. No, was I following the deep lyrics? No. I was following how hot that dude looked in jeans. That I digress. But here's what I would say. Very often, folks, I coach situationally, but I don't dismiss long-term mindset benefits. But let's go situationally today, because so often it's, I won't take an action because I'm tired, I'm sad, I'm afraid, they won't, they can't, something, right? Everything that we do in business, obviously in life, but in business involves progression. You've got an ultimate goal if it's you. It is such a cool thing that you're not working on an entirely separate goal than your client, the prospect, the audience. It's senseless that you're coming from two direct sides. So break on through. You know, folks, it's your responsibility to help the client get to the other side. And I hope you also know that there is zero way it's going to work if you're dragging them along with what you see as value and what you see as a solution. So what's the safer, easier play to break on through? Don't bang so hard, for God's sake. Here's the simplicity, which is when you know what's going on and you're not being emotionally impacted, do the solutions resonate with the client? Well, there's a real easy way to find out, which is know what's going on with the client. Secondly, if they are not in the mood, let's bring this to 2025. There's a damn good book that's out right now called The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. It's literally 4 words and broken into 2 parts. Let them. The second part, let me. So you're really playing into the client's needs and solutions. They're not communicating with you. Why? Because you haven't given them an option that would create any urgency on their part. Easiest solution, learn more about them. Literally, not just what makes them tick, what's going on in this immediate moment that's bothering them, what's troublesome for them. It's the only thing that people are going to feel or care about. When I coach people, the old mantra is people don't do anything unless they feel something. That's the most basic way I can put it. I don't care how brilliant your solutions sound or how brilliant your theories and research are. If they're not feeling it, it doesn't matter. I've been told that I can be book smart. Thank God I come from a background that also involved common sense or people skills or what have you. You know when something resonates, you know it. And more importantly, you know when it doesn't. So life lesson in the let them, let me. I provided something. They didn't like it. They dismissed it. They didn't act pleased with it. Well, here's the cliche. Let them. Your responsibility is, so what do I do with it? Find out what really works. Ask good questions, really, and earn the right for an answer, right? You're not trying to impress somebody with your knowledge. You're trying to impress somebody with your really tuned in sense of what works for them. So for this, you really want to break on through to the other side. The fact of the matter is you've got to be aligned with what your client, prospect, audience, when you're speaking, wants, feels, or needs. That to me is where I typically head to allow myself to break on through, because otherwise I'm just sitting in fear, anxiety, anger, confusion. And why the hell would I want to do that any day? So that's just my take on it. What do you think, brother?
Yeah, I mean, so I look at this in a couple different ways.
Right.
And again, I'm going to try and dummy down what you just said, which is not the easiest thing to do sometimes. Because you You are one deep dude, bro.
Who's referencing pop culture.
Let me make it simple, okay?
No, there you go.
Let's talk about the wall, right?
Right.
What's the wall made of, John? What is the actual wall made of? Because I'm going to tell you, there's the perception of it is, and then there's the reality of what it is. So what is the wall made of, John?
Perception. Big, thick, heavy, impenetrable. Hard for me to get that word out.
Yeah.
Whether big concrete that I can't climb it, I'm not strong enough to break through.
So it's the strongest concrete. It's the strongest steel.
And the highest.
It's tougher than diamonds. It's a quadruple pane glass. It's every impenetrable, unimaginable surface that you can't get through. Guess what? It ain't true.
Why?
The wall is made of marshmallow. Okay? I'm going to tell you the truth. The wall is made of marshmallow because guess whose wall it is? It's your wall.
Oh, there you go.
Okay? You created that wall.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can create the wall, you can break the wall.
Break the wall.
Right? So the whole point in saying this is once you recognize that the wall is made by you and that the wall can be broken by you, you start to break it down. Right? And that's the whole point in today's message.
I love it.
You need to stop creating walls and you need to find ways to finish. You need to keep going and get through and see it to the finish line. Why? Because it is the journey. And I'm going to use an example of Saquon Barkley. It was interesting. Saquon Barkley was on a podcast the other day, and they asked him how satisfying was winning the Super Bowl. And you know what he said? It actually wasn't as satisfying as I thought, but it was the journey. It was the preparation, and it was everything in there involved that was more satisfying, right? And it's interesting because when you think about it, and you and I talked about this earlier, right? If the people that fail quit too soon, right? You can have these mini losses along the way, but failure is a permanent stop, right? And that's how you have to start thinking of these things. If you fail, you quit too soon. I'll say it again. If you fail, you quit too soon. So you have to finish because maybe not at the end, it's the biggest and most incredible thing ever. But the fact that you finished have now built this foundation and this character that allow you to do more. So take down the freaking wall.
I love that, brother. I think it's so powerful and so visual. And I get that, right? So if you're the one that's putting up this wall, and I ain't much for construction, so my wall, if I really thought about it, would not be that hard to break. But it's for myself. Fear. Fear, and most often that fear can be identified with something as simple as, I'm not good enough. I waited too long. They're not impressed, and I'll get embarrassed.
That is your wall. That, for lack of a better term, that's the mortar. That's the mortar.
There's the concrete.
The mortar in these bricks are all those things. Yep.
And when you break them down each by each piece, they're really easy to do. So for myself, when I reference that book, to me, it's a day-to-day situational. And that's when I talk about coaching people situationally. This is where it's terrific because, folks, to get the business, not just moving, but to use my friend's absolutely brilliant, get to the finish line. Brilliant in that regard. To get to the finish line, these excuses are nothing but that, excuses. So you don't have to be happy to continue to progress. You do not have to be in a great mood. You do not have to be uber confident. You simply have to keep moving and pay attention. Think about the old adage of talking about walls. It's like going through in a dark and you're wearing the headlamp on your head. And it's like, you just need to see what's going on. You just need to see what the hell's going on. And as you pull those pieces away, for example, with fear, ask questions, ingratiate yourself with somebody. Big, heavy work.
That's a big one.
Right?
I can't even spell that.
Earn it. Earn the right for somebody to like Know, like, trust, respect, whatever, right? All of them matter. And then the wall gets a little bit easier. I'll add one more thing to what our motivating coach superstar.
You're gonna get the name of that business.
Oh,
motivating coaching. Motivating coaching.
Motivating coaching. There you go. Hey, folks, it is. And I will get that right too by the new name. I love the name because it fits you. It really fits Chad Levine, motivating coach, because this is what he does every time we're here. Every clip you see, every episode we deliver, that's what you're getting, and that's what's so impactful to me. So to break down the wall, to tear down the wall, to make it easier for yourself, what I was going to add is the only other thing I would add is other people really, if it's in it for them, will help you.
Yeah.
So you walking around with big hammers and I'm not this. It's make it worth the clients, the audience's while. Simply make it worth their while. And they're going to say, oh, here, let me help you. Oh, I like this, but can you do that? That is helping you break down a wall. So,
John, I'm going to give you one for the clips. You ready?
Yeah.
Here it is. The mental wall is not a wall at all.
Ooh, right. So listen up, folks. The mental wall is not a wall at all.
That's right.
So we just created 2 clips. Hey, I stole from Mel Robbins today, and I stole from Chad Levine. So I'm at least when I steal off of good people. That's so true. Mindset sounds deep, heavy, and boring. I don't have time for all that. I got to get stuff done, or I could just sit.
But you start to break it down when you look at the structure and what it's made of. Yeah, that's my whole message today.
It's
right?
Brilliant. And go.
Go.
Whole point is to me that it's not that heavy. It's not that deep. It's not that hard. And that's what I was saying. When you're utilizing tactical mindset, tactical, successful mindset, these are small moves. But honest to God, when you tear the wall down, it's so powerful. So motivating coaching. Right? I'm 100% on this. Brother, what else would you think we could add? Because I feel like just people hearing this will know not only we got you, but more importantly is that you got you. So, you know what I mean?
Again, John, we repeat this message every single time, right?
Yeah, it's a good one.
People hit walls all the time. Right?
All the time.
The reason that we're here and we exist and we love what we do is because we are going to show you what the wall is actually made of. Yeah. And we're going to teach you how to get through it and to break it down. You put it up, we'll break it down. The mental wall is not a wall at all. That's all I have, John.
Folks, here's the visual that I think about. And I would say anybody, so if we're referencing 70s songs, hey, anybody old enough to remember The Wizard of Oz and going through that curtain, big booming voice, and they open the curtain, and meanwhile, it's some dweeby dude that's trying to sound tough. The wall ain't a wall at all, folks.
Yeah.
And if you take nothing more away from us today, it's not just that mindset expression. It's the sense that you can help yourself, and it's really easy to get to the other side so that you're not giving up. Because for God's sake, that's our mantra. It's like, we can't let you give up because there's so much better things that are in store for you. I really appreciate today. I feel really charged up, as a matter of fact. Anything else you want to add before we bounce?
Yes. Motivating coaching.
Critically important, folks. Motivating coaching. Motivating coaching, Chad Levine. Wait a minute. Let's do this again. Motivating coaching. And Duffin coachings. John Duffin.
That's much easier.
For me, anyway. For everyone else, they might be like, I like his better. But so I love Chad Levine. And folks, you just heard another episode of Deep Diving. our YouTube specific platform where you will find a ton of takeaways that you can utilize right now to make your day stronger, to make your business stronger, to make your life better. John Duffin here, Duffin Media, and my man, one last time from the cheap seats, Motivating Coaching's Chad Levine.
Yeah. Woo! Love it.
Talk soon. Bye.